Hey Maximus, I love you, son. This is version 3 of your quotes. Purity over lust, charity over greed, patience over wrath, kindness over envy, moderation over gluttony, diligence over sloth. How you think creates how you feel. How you feel becomes an emotion becomes a vibration. Vibration becomes a magnet that attracts things to you. Unless someone has what you want or has taken others there, their advice isn't advice, it's sabotage. The ability to observe without evaluating is the highest form of intelligence. To hold a people in oppression, you have to convince them that they are supposed to be oppressed. A stubborn enough person can survive just about anything. Rage is a hell of an anesthetic. Never try to dominate the one who says sorry to you for their mistakes because they understand you are more important than their ego. Everything is energy. Match the frequency of the reality you want and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy, this is physics. By the way, son, that was Einstein. There's a lot of quotes that he has that are a lot less scientific and more philosophical than people want to believe, but uh, the religions, the sciences, the philosophies, they all have constants. A man is what he thinks, his character being the complete sum of all his thoughts. God pulled you out of the pit so you can go back in and pull more people out. Never forget that. You cannot teach anybody anything, you can only make them think. They must teach it to themselves. Wisdom lies in not seeing things, but in seeing through things. To whom much is given, much is expected. Our only sin is that we have forgotten ourselves, and our enlightenment will be that we remember again. All the gods, all the heavens, all the hells are within you. Never make the mistake of assuming that person of peace is unskilled at war. Is your money being longer worth your happiness or your lifespan being shorter? The measure of a man is the way he the measure of a man is the way he bears up under misfortune. Kill traitors before you kill your enemies. Your future self is watching you right now through your memories. Correct the wise and they use discernment. Correct a fool and watch him lash out. Pain plus reflection equals progress. To lead is to see further. The only way to have strong faith is to endure great trials. He delivers the afflicted by their affliction and opens their heart by adversity. Put on the full armor of God. Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. Pain is your greatest teacher, son. Whoever works his land will have plenty of bread, but he who follows worthless pursuits will have plenty of poverty. Join groups where your desired behavior is their normal behavior. The price of growth is paid through pain. To a dormant society, the man who moves with intent is viewed as too intense. Disappear. Go to war with the man in the mirror and come back when you're victorious. Before elevation comes isolation. God made you in his image. Never convince yourself you could ever be powerless. God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline. We cannot get real satisfaction out of our work unless we pause frequently to ask ourselves why we are doing it and whether its purpose is one of which our minds wholeheartedly approve. Those who wait on the Lord shall renew shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. The Lord is my light and salvation. Who shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? Blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial. For when he has stood the test of time, he will receive the crown of life, which God has promised to those who love him. For you, O Lord, will bless the righteous. With favor you will surround him as with a shield. Don't be afraid to fall, my son. Who you become in the process will be there to catch you. What you decide to do with your life will echo into eternity infinitely through the influence towards the generations that fall under you. I made that quote, Maximus, and I hope you understand how accurate it is. If you set a trap for others, you will get caught in it yourself. The wicked run away when no one is chasing them, but the godly are as bold as lions. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. If they stand behind you, protect them. If they stand beside you, respect them. If they stand against you, destroy them. Sadness comes from not knowing what to do or which steps to take towards progression out of your current state. Ignorance creates problems of helplessness, and wisdom creates solutions towards prosperity. People who accept discipline are on the pathway to life. Those who ignore correction will go astray. Hiding anger and hatred makes you a liar. Slandering others makes you a fool. Hate what is evil, cling to what is good. Water carves through rock, purely through diligence. Listen to wise counsel, receive instruction, and accept correction, that ye may be wise in the time to come. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Lord, renew my energy when I feel tired and weak. Look straight ahead, son, and fix your eyes on what lies before you. Mark out a straight path for your feet. Stay on that same path. Don't get sidetracked. Keep your feet from following evil. Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have already received it and it will be yours. God equips you with strength for any battle. He subdues under you those who rise against you. Your excuses are nothing more than the lies your fears have sold you. Focus on getting even with those who help you, not with those who hurt you. Life is an echo. What you send out comes back. What you sow, you reap. What you give, you get back. The spirit of the devil works through the children of disobedience. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. What? Know you not that your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost which is in you, which you have of God, and you are not your own? For you are bought with a price. Therefore glorify God in your body and in your spirit, which are God's. The path illuminates further with each faithful step you take. Remember your why and who you do it for. You are built for every struggle and the greatness that comes with it. All in the all, and the all is in all. In order to be, you must first become spiritual, mental, physical. What type of man must you become in order to attract what you want? No bird soars too high if he soars with his own wings. Before you pray, believe. Before you speak, listen. Before you spend, earn. Before you write, think. Before you quit, try. Before you die, live. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit he prunes so that it will be even more fruitful. The fool who persists in his own folly becomes wise. The thankful receiver bears a plentiful harvest. Transmutation, not presumptuous denial, is the weapon of the master. You cannot act unless willed to act. You will not will to act unless you desire to act. You will not desire to act unless you obtain satisfaction thereby. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name of a law not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. Your lack of discipline is an insult to the people who believe in you. Being deeply loved by someone gives you strength, while loving someone deeply gives you courage. Life's trials are not meant to defeat you, but to strengthen you. Rise each time you fall stronger than before. Walk around like God sent you and smile at everyone you see. The chains of habit are too weak to be felt until they are too strong to be broken. People do not decide their futures. They decide their habits, and their habits decide their futures. Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all others. Follow the examples of the wise. Use law against law, the higher against the lower, and by the act of alchemy transmute that which is undesirable into that which is worthy, and thus triumph. What you say you will do, you have to do. Energy cannot be destroyed, it can only be converted from one form to another. Seek the path, do not seek attainment. Seek for the path within yourself. You must be willing to give up what you are in order to become what you will be. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. You cannot wish for both strong character and an easy life. The price of each is the other. With the courage to begin and the discipline to endure, victory becomes inevitable. Chin up to God, son. Walk into the room as though God himself has sent you. The lips of wisdom are closed except to the ears of understanding. Opportunities multiply as they are seized. Fear is the path of the devil. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. The fear of suffering is the path to hell. You might as well be dead. Seriously, if you always put limits on what you can do, physical or anything else, it will spread over into the rest of your life. It will spread into your work, into your morality, into your entire being. There are no limits. There are plateaus, but you must not stay there. You must go beyond them. If it kills you, it kills you. A man must constantly exceed his level. Vibrate at the frequency of your authentic self and let go of your lesser victim self to attract everything that belongs to you. I respect all of the Lord's tests. I enter each battle with a smile. You will earn the respect of all if you begin by earning the respect of yourself. There's no need for vengeance. Those with a corrupt heart destroy themselves. Judge a person not by their accomplishments, by what they have had to overcome for those accomplishments. Manipulation happens when the focus shifts from their offensive behavior to your reaction. Synchronicity is an ever-present reality for those who have eyes to see. What progress, you ask, have I made? I have begun to be a friend to myself. Truth is not what you want it to be. It is what it is, and you must bend to its power or live a lie. Physical punishment cleanses away evil. Such discipline purifies the heart. People overestimate what they can achieve in a year and underestimate what they can achieve in a decade. It is the interests of the tyrant to keep his subjects poor, as the people are so occupied by their daily tasks that they have no time for plotting. All truth passes through 3 stages. First, it is ridiculed. Second, it is violently opposed. Third, it is accepted as self-evident. Be mindful of your habitat. It is where you learn your habits at. Open your eyes. See things for what they really are, thereby sparing yourself the pain of false attachment and avoidable devastation. Evil preaches tolerance until it is dominant. Then it seeks to silence. A man cannot remake himself without suffering, for he is both the marble and the sculptor. Do whatever you can to escape the ghetto. It is filled with lazy, bitter, broken, jealous people. Progress isn't celebrated in the ghetto, it is frowned upon. When you make any slight improvement in your life, it makes you a target. When God wants to make a man powerful, he always shreds him into pieces first. Never forget it's a process with God. Without pain, there can be no growth. Accept the pain and embrace it. Surround yourself with clowns and watch yourself become part of the circus. Everybody pities the weak. Jealousy you have to earn. This book of instruction must not depart from your mouth. You are to meditate on it day and night so that you may carefully observe everything written in it. For then you will prosper and succeed in whatever you do. I pursued my enemies and overtook them. I did not turn back until they were destroyed. I crushed them so they could not rise. They fell beneath my feet. You armed me with strength for battle. You made my adversaries bow at my feet. You made my enemies turn their backs in flight, and I destroyed my foes. They cried for help, but there was no one to serve them. There was no one to save them. To the Lord, but he did not answer. I beat them as fire, as dust borne on the wind. I poured them out like mud in the streets. Show weakness and your enemies will eat you alive. Stop asking people for directions to places they've never been. The man who fears suffering is already suffering from what he fears. After getting what you manifested, ask for discipline to keep it and wisdom to multiply it. This is the touchstone of such a spirit. No prize fighter can go with big spirits into the strife if he has never been beaten black and blue. The only contestant who can confidently enter the lists is the one who has seen his own blood, who has felt his teeth rattle beneath his opponent's fist, who has been tripped and felt the full force, who has tripped and felt the full force of his adversary's charge, who has been downed in body but not in spirit, one who, as often as he falls, rises again with greater defiance than ever. He reached down from on high and took hold of me. He drew me out of deep waters. He rescued me from my powerful enemy, from my foes who were too strong for me. They confronted me in the day of my disaster, but the Lord was my support. He brought me out into a spacious place. He rescued me because he delighted in me. In my distress I called to the Lord. I cried to my God for help. From his temple he heard my voice. My cry came before him into his ears. The earth trembled and quaked, and the foundations of the mountains shook. They trembled because he was angry. Smoke rose from his nostrils. Consuming fire came from his mouth. Burning coals blazed out of it. He parted the heavens and came down. Dark clouds were under his feet. He mounted the cherubim and flew. He soared on the wings of the wind. He made darkness his covering, his canopy around him, the dark rain clouds of the sky. Out of the brightness of his presence clouds advanced, with hailstones and bolts of lightning. The Lord thundered from heaven. The voice of the Most High surrounded. He shot his arrows and scattered the enemy. With great bolts of lightning he routed them. The valleys of the sea were exposed, and the foundations of the earth laid bare at your rebuke, Lord, at the blast of breath from your nostrils. The strong do what they can, the weak suffer what they must. The man who fears death will never do anything worthy of a man who is alive. A great man is hard first and most on himself. A small man is hard first and most on others. Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. Power comes in response to a need, not a desire. You must create that need. Your old self is counting on you. Your younger self is believing in you. Pain that brings you closer to God is always better than comfort that draws you away from him. Very important, son. Pain that brings you closer to God is always better than comfort that draws you away from him. If you are not aggressive, you're not going to make money. If you're not defensive, you're not going to keep it. Good and evil both increase at compound interest. That is why the little decisions you and I make every day are of such infinite importance. The smallest good act today is the capture of a strategic point from which, a few months later, you may be able to go on to victories you never dreamed of. The deep critical thinker has become the misfit of the world, and this is not coincidence. To maintain order and control, you must isolate the intellectual, the sage, the philosopher, the savant before their ideas awaken people. If the ruler himself has no faith, then people will have no faith in him. The wise man excels in the care of his people. You either lead or follow, draw in or expel, grow strong or weaken, succeed or fail. The only source of knowledge is experience. Once it is achieved, avoid complacency. What is achieved is dictated only by necessity. Someone who knows men has only knowledge, but to know yourself is perception. Someone who conquers men has only force, but to conquer self is strength. A worthy man relies on his strengths and avoids his weaknesses. The enlightened man goes gently in the world, tampering his mind to it. The people all look to his deeds and listen to his words, and he treats them all as his children. By accumulating virtue, every obstacle is overcome. In overcoming every obstacle, all limits are removed. The enlightened man treats everything as difficult and in the end faces no difficulty at all. There is no calamity worse than thoughtlessly going to war, for in doing so I lose that which is most precious to me. Thus, when two sides do actually engage, the one that does so with regret will be the victor. Recognizing what one does not know is the highest order of behavior. Pretending to knowledge one does not have is the fault of the worst kind. The enlightened man is without fault as he recognizes his fault. The enlightened man acts without expectation. achieves without claiming credit. He has no desire to make a show of his virtue. The punishment of desire is the agony of unfulfillment. If you but set on the path, you will see it everywhere. It is a part of the miserable man to speak and to act without reflection. I love you, Maximus. December 14th.